everybody, and welcome. I am, rather, not we. I am Alexis, and I am having an absolute blast doing these world collaboration collective interviews. And today, or tonight, I have got Annika, and she's such a gorgeous soul. I'm so excited. And yes, I'm kind of really actually pumped tonight. So anyway, Annika, she is the light maiden. She is this beautiful, when you connect with her, she's got this beautiful energy. So I've never spoken to Annika before tonight, and she's just an absolute delight. So Annika, sorry, darling. She is this creator of Bring Me Light sessions, and she has such, I don't know, she's got these gifts going on. So we're going to have a little chat to her and see what she is bringing to the table. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's like I was really excited for this interview, and I'm like, I'm bubbling over. I'm like, oh, what do we will create? I have no clue.
So we're really informal because that's how we roll. I want to hear from you. What has brought you to this point now? So we're going to have a little chat about, what you're actually doing, and what are you bringing? How are you turning up in the world at the moment? What is it that you're sharing? And I can kind of, it's almost like all these little things are going ding, 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 and you've come online, and all these gifts are coming up to the surface, and it's like, okay, where do I start? But what is it in this moment that you're actually excited about and ready to share?
Well, in this moment right now, I'm in a massive shift. So I'm actually changing into, or I am the light maiden now, but I've just received this name a week ago. Mm-hmm. So I have been in this space now for a couple of weeks, and I couldn't name it. So I actually got help from a lovely friend of mine in Amsterdam. She took like a complete morning off and sat down with me in Zoom or online, and we had like we worked with the birds, and I described to her what I do and what happens when you work with me and all of this kind of stuff. And she then came up with the name like Light Maiden, and it was so perfect because it combined everything I do. And there's so many like aspects of my work in this one title, in this one word, in this one name. Like my husband said, it's my superhero name now. And I love that kind of, it's almost like stepping into this new version of myself. Mm-hmm. I believe that we all like are learning and growing every day, and like keep stepping into new versions. Every morning you have a choice in what version you step into that day. And the version I stepped into a couple of weeks back was so much bigger than my title of intuitive happiness coach that I was carrying beforehand. Yeah. And I try to describe what I do with like, I'm a published author, I'm a visual artist. I love setting words and color together and setting them in like little manifestos, so you can like they keep your mind working while you read them. And also I'm a motivational speaker. I love to speak on stage. I love to be on video and like just inspire the people in front of me. Mm-hmm. But how do you put all of that and more into one name? And so Sarah helped me, and we came up, we had this magical session together where we came up with the Light Maiden and really talked about like, how can I define for myself maiden new? Mm-hmm. Because the maiden is normally just an innocent, naive, unmarried woman. Or a girl normally, but it's so much more. Like, this is what people see when they look at me first. Yeah, they see my face, like face that people still think I'm 19 or 20. and they see my face and they think like, oh, what can she know? You know?
Yeah.
But actually, over the last year, I have been stepping since the birth of my second son.
Mm-hmm.
I had a pretty crappy pregnancy, and but I had him downstairs in the living room in the water.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
it was just the most magical experience. And I just realized that in that moment, to get through this birth,
Mm-hmm.
to feel the magic happening and not being sucked in by the pain, I needed support. I needed to connect to my higher self, to my guides, to my angels and mentors, and to source itself.
Yeah.
And so that feeling hasn't left me since. Just like and I remembered it, and I went on a quest to find it again.
Mm-hmm.
And over the last, like, he's 15 months now.
Yeah.
He was born in June last year. And since then, I have been searching for this wholeness, for this feeling, for this being connected to everything.
Yeah.
And on the way, I found that when I'm in a session with a client, so I do one-to-one coaching or group coaching programs as well. And when I'm in a session with a client, I actually use this connection, and I can channel messages through. I can let them know what their guides are telling them.
Mm-hmm.
I always know which question to ask. And people look at me and think like, where do you know that from? And I'm like, I can't explain it. I just know. And I know this is the question I need to ask to get, like, not scratch the surface, but like get really deep down. And all of this is captured in my name now. And I'm really, really happy to have that. Oh gosh, that was a big round to come along. But yes. So, and that is what I do now. Like the one-to-one sessions, I like whatever the person in front of me needs. Maybe they need an angel card. Maybe they need a channel of message. Maybe they just need some coaching. Maybe they just need some love and some support, some space to let out what they feel and what they need to express.
Yeah, and that the light maiden, that energy is really, people dismiss innocence, like the wisdom that comes with innocence. People don't necessarily associate the two, because you think innocent, they don't know anything, they're like blank slate. For me, when I think of innocence, and especially the light maiden, that maiden archetype is really, it's such a big portion of, especially like a life cycle for women. We've got the maiden, the mother, crone. People really tend to go, oh, they go through the maiden and then it's mother or crone. But think about where all your beliefs and structure and everything that, you know, sets you up for life, that all happens in the maiden phase. So it's really interesting to kind of see what wisdom you bring through from that phase, because everything's kind of still evolving. And then to have someone and go, I'm the light maiden, holy crap. I think Joan of Arc, you know, like it has that beautiful kind of, I don't know, there's something about it. So how does that make you feel to go, oh my God, I have this and it just fits. It feels good. That feeling.
It's so strong.
Yeah.
It's so strong. You know, I have that connection to my inner maiden. And she has those this innocent worldview, because I believe that my children are one of my greatest teachers. Mm-hmm. Like seeing them excited about a little butterfly or a teeny tiny caterpillar, like, you know, crawling around, or the chickens outside, like, whatever it is, you know, like I learn from them so much to dive into that feeling again. And seeing the magic of the world again. Yeah. And connecting back to that maiden state is just like, it makes me so incredible, strong. And when you think back as children, we never questioned if we're beautiful.
Mm.
My 3-year-old, he knows he's enough.
Yeah.
He actually strongly believes in himself and knows he can do anything he wants. He can create anything he wants. Like, he's the best little manifester I've seen ever. Like, he talks about something and like 2 days later it's there, you know. And it's not that I buy all these things, I just want to hear them. Like, you know? But like, I believe if we can reconnect in like, even when we're mothers, like, you don't need to move along and leave that part of you behind.
It's
You can take it with you and integrate it, you know. And I recently learned there's a fourth phase in between. So there's the maiden, the mother, the wild woman, and the crown. And
oh my God. I just got
the wild woman. It's just like, you know, she looks at her shadow side and she owns it. And she doesn't give a fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And this is kind of where I feel at the moment. I don't care if you judge me that I believe in that magic of the world outside, because I do. And I own it. And that belief is so strong in me that it defies all logic. What I'm doing at the moment, how we're living our life, is like when you talk to like the regular 9-to-5er,
yeah.
you're crazy.
They don't quite get it. We're a different breed.
But I met more and more people. You know, I came from corporate. Like in 2012, I left corporate, and I still have friends from corporate, and I make them think. I inspired them to think outside the little box that we're all raised in.
Yeah.
Like, we're all raised in this little box of our culture and society and parents and like the community around us. And some of us break out and actually question the normal rules, the normal, like, that this is normal, but why?
Start to question, exactly. And that's one of the most powerful things for people, is to actually start asking those questions. As soon as they start, well, actually, why is it that way? Or why do we think like that? Or why do I have to do it this way? Why can't I do it my way? You know? And as soon as people start to question, they start to break out of the little I wouldn't say self-imposed boxes, but the boxes that they've been put in, or that they didn't even know that they were in a box. And then suddenly they start to see. Definitely. And
I discover boxes. I discover boxes like every couple of days or weeks, even. New boxes. And I thought, like, it has to be that way. Just like 2 days ago, we actually said, like, okay, like, our life has changed so much. We recently let go of our chocolate stall, which we had. So we did sell chocolates and cake pops on the markets. And so we don't have the physical labor of the chocolate making anymore. And so we don't actually need to eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
But we were raised with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so this is how it always was. And so we didn't even question it. But now we're like, okay, let's try for the next week or two that we have a bigger breakfast and then an early dinner.
Yeah.
And see if we snacks in between, whatever. Let's find our own way. And this is what we have been doing, like, for the longest time. Me and my husband, we're married now since 2008. 2009. We know each other since 2008. We married 2009. And even our wedding, it was just a big rock and roll concert in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was like we did always our things in our own way, and we keep discovering that unique way of living our life. And I think once you get not only here in your headspace, but in your heart and in your body, that you are the creator of your own life, that you are actually able to shape whatever surrounds you, And it just like by making incremental changes, making it the exact way you want it to be.
Yeah.
Not how you were taught when you were raised, or how you were like, this is how it is. But actually like start questioning everything around you and shaping it into the way of life that you want it to be.
Yeah.
Everything changes once you get that, not only here but wholly. Yeah.
And that's fascinating, because going back to the food, and especially like we're all taught, you know, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and have some snacks and all these, you know, weight loss programs and things. Like there's so much routine structure, and there's not enough about tuning into your own body or tuning into your own guidance and listening to yourself. It's all about listening to somebody else. So it's kind of like taking back your power when you do realize that you can create how you want things to be, and not necessarily how life is, you know, supposedly expected to be. And as soon as you do start to tune in and listen to your own body and go, actually, I really don't want to have lunch today, or I just want something light for dinner, because a lot of people have quite heavy dinner, depending on where you are. They might have a heavy dinner and then their body can't digest it very well throughout the night. And then they feel like crap the next day, and it's that cycle because it's how they were taught to do. And it's absolutely fascinating. And go, well, actually, I can create, and I'm creating a life that does not include lunch unless I want to. And you know, because sometimes there's also that difference between wanting and then actually what does your body want, not just your mind, body, mind, and getting that balance right.
Yeah, it's the connection between like we are raised to be in our headspace all the time.
Yeah.
But once you connect to your body, you actually know what you need. Like your body knows. And when you listen to it, when it's hungry, you feed it with like nutritious, beautiful, good quality food.
Mm-hmm.
I started listening to my body last year, and then my body told me that it's time to stop sugar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm running a chocolate stall. Are you crazy?
It's like, I have to taste test, really?
But it's like really like chocolate was my first love. It wouldn't be out chocolate in my life. But I trusted my feeling. And I went off processed sugar in December.
Mm-hmm.
And I like my depressive phases stopped completely. I was so focused. The focus is amazing. The clarity in my head. Yeah. I started getting downloads directly. That was the start that I knew I could like communicate with my guides directly, or with source even directly. Yeah. That was amazing. That started then. And also I just like, I'm in the best of life just because I started listening to my body.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you still heard me. You were like kind of freezing up.
Yeah, I heard you.
But I'm in the best shape of my life. And just because I'm listening to my body, I hear every day, like when I need to do my yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So when I need to do my stretches and my strengthening. And also by cutting out the processed sugar, that was exactly what my body needed. Mm-hmm. Because then like things in my figure changed that I wouldn't have thought could go. Like around my tummy, you know, and around my upper thighs. I'm like, I thought that was genetics. Mm-hmm. I thought I'm built this way. And suddenly it started changing. My whole body started changing. And I'm like, okay. And all this came just from tuning into my body and listening and following through.
It's interesting because I personally get a lot of guidance that I don't necessarily listen to, because I'm really good at that. And with anything, like with guidance, you always have free will as to whether you listen or not. And my ego loves to not listen. So we have a little bit of a battle going on. Have you got some tips to help with actually actioning the guidance that you do here? Because I know from my experience and other people that I've spoken to, they might have this guidance like, not that sugar's bad, because as soon as you put a judgment on it, it creates resistance.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of like, okay, body, you actually want to break from sugar, or you want to have a break from processed foods. But it's having that mind that wants to take over and go, well, no, this is what I want, even though your body doesn't want it. Your mind's saying that that's what you want to do. Have you got any tips to help with that?
Well, especially with the especially with the food, is stay away from advertisement,
mm-hmm.
because it will reinforce that what your brain is saying.
Yep.
Like, look, they're saying it's good too for me.
Yeah, it's got a visual like, yeah, see, that food's on the TV. That's okay. No.
Yeah. Exactly. And the other thing is that what I told, like I did run a sugar-free living program, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that was so, so important was like, get clear on your why.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
For me, the start was, I want to see what it will do to my depression, to my mental health, to my mental state.
Yeah.
And that was my why that kept me going. And whenever I had have a piece of cake or some sugar, then I would have that clouded feeling again.
Yeah.
So for me, it got really clear, okay, I'm not my best version
mm-hmm.
if I eat sugar. So it's better for me to not. But I needed to get my why clear first.
Yeah.
And this is my why now. Every day when I decide what I put into my body, it's like, 1, I love myself. That's why I'm feeding my body temple the best food I can get.
Mm-hmm.
2, I want to be the best version for my children, for my family, and for myself. And 3, I don't want to lose the connection to source again. And it has been so clear since I've stopped eating sugar that I'm like, this is more important for me than putting processed food into my mouth. Yeah.
Yeah, it comes down to that priority is, if there is that, like, something is more important than sugar or junk food or whatever it is that somebody might be struggling with, if you do have a strong enough why, then it's always going to put that at the top of the list rather than putting that crap into your body. But, that's me putting a judgment on that kind of food. And for some people,
sorry. I love that you mentioned judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my sugar-free program, there was no judgment.
Yeah.
It was only a moment.
Mm-hmm.
It was only a moment where you fell back into old behavior.
Yep.
And you ate a piece of chocolate. In the next moment, with the next piece of chocolate in your hand, you have a new choice to make.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you judging yourself and almost shaming yourself, guilting yourself for something doesn't help anybody because it's done already.
Yeah.
It's like in the past, you can't change it,
But we're so good at holding on to things. We hold on to it, and especially, I don't know about men because I'm not a man, but as women, I know women, and we do. We hold on to it, and we are our worst critics. We are so harsh on ourselves, and it might have happened 20 years ago, but if you remember it and you have any kind of judgment, guilt, shame, fear, anger, you'll bring that back up, and you bring those emotions and those energies back to now, and you're living it again. And so your body is constantly in that conflict, and you're constantly living it over and over. And it's no surprise to me, like, a lot of women have hormonal issues and adrenal fatigue and depression and, the rise in mental health issues. It's because we keep bringing it up.
Yeah, it's because of things that probably happened like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they keep reminding themselves and shaming themselves and feeling guilty for it.
Yeah.
I had recently a memory coming up last November. I was raped 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I suppressed that memory. So I put it into a box, and I didn't want to even talk about it.
Yeah.
Straight afterwards. Mm-hmm. I didn't know about this for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then the memory came up, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do with this now? And I started reliving it, like you said, like holding on to the experience. So much shame, so much guilt, so much pain as well. Mm. And then I came across forgiveness. I came across Ho'oponopono. It's an old Hawaiian prayer, and it helps me release anything. It might be as small as I yelled at my kid, or it might be as big like I was raped. So, but this was what helped me releasing those old things and releasing my judgment for myself, releasing my shame, my guilt, like that was holding me down. And by now, I'm like, I wake up in the morning and I hear myself talking to myself as I would talk to my best friend. It's like, oh, today's a nice day. Oh, I feel delicious, and I stretch into my body. And like,
And that's a beautiful space to be in.
Yeah. It was a long road to get there. But one thing that really helped me was the forgiveness and letting go of the past and really stepping into the present moment and being here with me right now. Yeah.
So, for those that aren't aware of it, what's the Ho'oponopono prayer? Because I do know it, but I'd like you to share it.
So the version I use, I have a quickie version and I have a long version. So the quickie version is when it's like something small, I write it onto my forgiveness list. Mm-hmm. And whenever I then take like every week or even once a month, when there is on the full moon, I release those things. So I use the moon cycles as well. I write a list, like it can be 1 or 2 words that reminds you of the situation. And then you speak this prayer over it. So you read this word again on your list and you say, I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. And then you cross it out and then you move on to the next point on your list. And you do it again. I'm sorry, I forgive you, thank you, I love you. You cross it out, you move on, and when you're ready, when you're done with your list, you burn it to release it. That's the quickie version. Then, after the quickie version is done on my full moon ritual, I write down again a list with things that come up now after I released it. So sometimes it's a couple of things from the same list I just burnt. So they come back, they need more releasing. Or then it's something bigger that I know I need the longer version for. And then I go through my longer version. That's actually looking at every single person involved in the experience. Can you still hear me? I saw your face going like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's fine, honey. Keep continue. Okay. We're good.
Okay. So I go to my first point on my list. I think of the situation. I think of everyone involved. Like, for example, like if it would have been a conversation with you, it would be you and me. Never forget yourself in the situations with the long version. And then I close my eyes, I picture you, and I say, I'm sorry. But I don't only say, I'm sorry. I say, I'm sorry for, and then I list all the reasons or everything I'm sorry for. Then I say, I forgive you. And then I list everything I forgive you. I say thank you. And I say everything out loud and I thank you for. And then I say, I love you. And if I can't say I love you, I can still say, I send you light. It's the same energetic print that you know, Like if it was really something and you're still angry about it, you might not be able to say, I love you. Just say, I send you light. And then you release the person, you let the person go in front of your inner eye. And then you picture a mirror in front of you and you see yourself. And you do the exact same thing with yourself. You tell yourself what you're sorry about. You tell yourself what you forgive. You tell yourself what you thank yourself for. And then you can let the mirror go and hop on to the next point. This is really, really strong, energetic work, but it works. It is so beautiful, so releasing, and you will feel things just moving out of your head in so much more clarity. Beautiful. And when you have like when you're through your list, you burn it again and let it go. And then for the rest of the evening, you drink loads of water and sleep early.
Like, I've done all that work. I need a nap now.
Exactly. People underestimate how exhausting this energetic work is.
Unless you're doing it, or you've had either sessions done or someone doing work with you, especially when you're doing it yourself, it's very, very easy to put yourself in the ground if you don't look after yourself.
It's like self-care is so important, especially when you do that work. And I say to every single client, like when I hold space in sessions, I do this forgiveness work actually with clients to be with them, to hold space for them, to make sure that they're okay while going through it. Because sometimes going through it is so hard that you stop in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you need help. Like with my rape, I went to my hypnotherapist because I needed help. Yeah. I did the forgiveness, but I needed help cutting the cords,
mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's really lovely when you do have that extra support, because we are strong people. You know, we are brought up and you're meant to be strong in this world and independent and blah, 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 all this stuff. And sometimes it's just nice to go, pat you on the back. It's okay, love. Someone's here. We can help you. Or even just, holding space, or even being a witness to say, you don't have to do anything, say anything, just be there. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's
it's like it wrecks my mind to think that we are raised to stand on our own and like do it all by yourself and whatever. It's like, no, we're humans, are like we're tribal creatures, we need our tribe. And in the day and age of the internet, our tribe might be all over the world, and that's fine too, but you can't do it alone. When I hear like solopreneurs, or like, I'm like, no. Like, you would never do it alone. I need support. I need my husband to look after the kids while I'm working. I at the moment, he's mostly nanny and cook and cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
He is, but I receive that support.
Yeah.
He's there and he believes in me, and that's why he's supporting me. And I have all these beautiful women like Sarah in Amsterdam who helped me with my name, or Patricia in New York who regularly comes on to tea chats with me, and we like just we exchange what is going on in our world because we're at very same stages. Yeah. A beautiful friend Katie, who is in Canada and is this wonderful, like she makes sacred music on her spirit drums and like sings, and it's just so healing. And just like you need a support system around you.
Yes.
Every single one of us needs it. And not only in the hard times, they need to be there to celebrate with you too,
And that goes back to tribal, because if you think about all the parts I don't like to separate life into phases, but, every kind of milestone, and, there's naming ceremonies, and, with the birth of children, and then when they become pubescent, and, start to become teenagers into adulthood. And, if you look at the tribal nations, they're very much, they celebrate everything. And even when there's those deaths, and people move on to the next phase of their journey, there's celebration, because they know that it's not the end, and everyone comes together, and you have this it's such a beautiful, because it's a really classic example of how the universe works. Like, everything is connected, and we're all in it together, and there is no such thing as being alone, because you can just reach out, and I guarantee for anyone that does feel alone, as soon as you reach out, there is someone there. Doesn't matter who it is, there is someone. And as soon as you start reaching out, people will start, giving you a hand.
You will be surprised. You will be surprised who comes up when you ask for help.
Yeah.
But then, don't let your ego get in the way and say, no, I don't want help from this person.
Yeah. Whereas, no, I'm an independent woman. I don't need help. But it's sometimes it's nice to just have some help, or someone just to listen. It's not even about having, because there is such an emphasis on help. We need help to do this. I don't like using the word help. I go support, because everybody needs support. Maybe that triggers other people. I don't know. But for me, I love that word, because for me, that's everything. It's not about doing things for people. It's just about being there and helping lift them up, so we can all lift each other up. It's just, connections. It's really beautiful, though.
So true. I love that. I love listening to you. You're bringing up so beautiful words, and there is such an understanding as well. I like this. I don't like small talk in mommy groups where we talk about nappies and food.
I don't do small talk.
I like this. I love that.
It's why some people don't get along with me, because I don't do the bullshit small talk. I've done that years ago. I want to have those deep conversations, and I want to share that with everybody. And, anyone that's listening, you want to have a deep conversation, give me a chat, That's what I live for. It's something about it that nourishes my soul, and it feeds me in a way that small talk or shallow conversations just don't do it. It's if you want to talk to me, let's have a good conversation. It's that's what we're doing.
It's really funny that you mention it, because I with all these beautiful women around the world who get me and who know what I'm talking about when I talk to them. It's kind of weird when I then talk to people outside.
Yeah.
So sometimes, you know what I mean, right? So 2 weeks ago, I was in Spain. My husband, I broke down and said, all my soul wants right now is swim in the ocean and have warm sunshine.
Yeah.
We had a really shitty summer.
Yeah.
Ireland was so cold the whole summer, and I'm I just need sunshine, I just need warmth, and I want to swim in the ocean. He was okay, I'm listening. I went upstairs, worked 3 hours, had a podcast interview for my own podcast, and my group program, and then another one-to-one session. And then he came upstairs when he knew I was finished, and was I couldn't book your flights on the iPad, so I have to do that now on the Mac. But I booked you an Airbnb in Alicante in Spain.
Aww,
that's so serious? So he stayed home with the kids while I went. And this other guy who was booked into the Airbnb, we saw each other over breakfast, and then I went to the beach and did whatever I needed. And then I came back and I had a FaceTime chat with my loved ones here at home. And then when I was on the way to the shower, this guy came in who had the room booked next to me. And I was like, oh, I'm heading out to dinner in about 30 minutes. Do you want to join me? And he was like, yeah, sounds good. And on the way to the restaurant, it was like 100 meters. So not really, like, you know, we didn't even walk a minute.
Yeah.
But on the way, I said something that like hurt him. It's like, ouch, that did hurt. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. This is what I do. I see more than other people. I'm used to very honest conversations. Mm-hmm. So you have a choice. Either you have an hour dinner and small talk and we like, you know, like leave, never see them again.
Yeah.
Or you want to have a real honest deep conversation with me, because this is what I do. I'm a coach and this is what I do, you know? And he was like, can we do 50-50? Can I drink some wine first and have some small talk? And then I can talk about the stuff when I had my wine. Fine. Okay. But the thing was, like, we were sitting in this restaurant for 2.5 hours. We had like tapas, and then we ordered some more, and then we had some fresh fruit as dessert, and it was just like, and we had this really deep conversation. And at the end, he insisted on paying. Beautiful. He insisted on paying and said, like, you had such a beautiful conversation with me. I've never went this deep in my life. And I know I will remember this evening for the rest of my life.
Oh,
so
wow.
Please pay you dinner.
That's gorgeous.
In that moment, it just hit me how powerful the work that I do is really. Mm-hmm. Like with spending like 2 hours with somebody, I change the next 60, 70 years of their life. And I'm just like, yeah, no more small talk. I'm done with small talk.
Yeah, exactly. Because, and when you are in that space, because, you know, we are constantly shifting and changing, evolving. And, you know, for me, I haven't always been in that happy vibration. And, you know, I'm human. I get low and have dark moments. But it's interesting when you are in that space that you're holding space for other people, that you can, it's not even like it's you. It's just like it comes out of you and you don't know where this stuff comes from. And you don't really care because it feels amazing. It's amazing stuff that's coming out. And people respond. They're like, oh my God, I needed to hear that today. Or that is just what, you know, it was just what was needed. And it's beautiful because even having conversations in, like, for me, it's at the school. And having those conversations. I have a group of women, just a few other mums. We don't have small talk. It's never small talk. And it's always like there's mirrors and bouncing off people. And even going into the office, when I'm in that space, I aim to always leave that place better than when I first walked in. Sometimes there's conflict, and that's, you know, life. But, you know, that's my aim. And 90% of the time I'd say I do that. The other 10%, well, that's human. So
we're learning. We're all learning. And like I said beforehand, it's like always, it's a learning process, and you have a choice in every single moment. And if you fuck it up in one moment, don't beat yourself up over it.
Let it go.
Okay. I'm learning.
Yeah.
It's like just shake it off, brush it off, and say like, okay, next time I can do it differently. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I don't know how long we've been going, but I need to wrap up. So thank you so much for having this chat. And I love chatting with you. So we'll do this again soon.
You need to do this, definitely. I want to interview you for my podcast. It's like the Meet Me at the Happy Place podcast. Yes, we need to arrange that.
We'll do that. So Annika, thank you so much, darling. The Light Maiden, you can find her on Facebook, and there will be details in the links on YouTube. So if you're watching this. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Annika. Absolutely. It's such a pleasure. Thank you. And I will see you all again soon. So
Bye-bye.
bye.